Is there a black experience? There's this general cry that black people should leave the past alone. That was in the past. Stop digging up the past. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is stupid. Anybody that tells you that is hoping that you will die off and die in a gutter somewhere, ignorant and stupid. I want you to equate somebody telling you as a black person that you should not dig up the past or bring up the past or learn about the past. I want you to equate that with them saying, I want you to die in a gutter. You got that? Good. I'm glad that we're on the same page here. A lot of people would deny the black experience. They would deny that black people have had a unique experience in the United States. Over 70% of the African Americans who came to the United States before the 1900s were sent here through slavery. There was approximately 20 to 30% blacks who came here of their own free will. They were most often rich black families. And they are still here, by the way. The mainstream media, of course, never reports about them. Black people need to learn about their history. They need to learn about their family and culture. There is a concerted effort that black people not learn about their family, not learn about their history, not learn about slavery, not learn about the period after slavery, especially the period after slavery. A lot of people will gloss over slavery and say slavery existed in the United States, end of story, right? They won't talk about anything in depth about slavery. They won't talk about the revolts. They won't talk about the massacres. They will all pretend that black people so willingly gave up their rights and were beaten, thrashed, and whipped, raped, genitalia cut off of black men, and black people just sat and took it. Nope, I'm here to tell you that is not the case whatsoever. Black people did revolt. They did slaughter whole towns all the time. It was of such a concern that the white people, went worldwide looking for answers as to how to keep black people in check as slaves. Understand that there was probably a whole bunch of me's back then. I wouldn't have worked not one day, and I would have sought to kill off anybody who insulted me or degraded me to the point to call me a slave or to want to treat me as a slave. There would have been a whole bunch of death around me. And there was a whole bunch of death around slavery. It was not the we singing in the fields, happy, happy Negro, happy. There's not a whole bunch of that. Hollywood wants to portray Negroes as that, but that's not what it was. For you to wake up with 20 Negroes around your bed with pitchforks and saying, bugga booga, at that time, they still were learning English, remember? A lot of them just got off the boat, right? With you standing around with 20 Negroes around your bed, you were dead. I mean, that was not an uncommon experience. Hollywood will never show that. Hollywood will also never show the rich black families that lived in the North or the West or what have you. They won't show the black families who supported abolition, the abolition of slavery. They always want to portray that white people rushed to abolish slavery. There was such a contention over slavery that the last 20 years of slavery did not see any importation of slaves. And this was by the choice of the South, not by the choice of the North. They were afraid that if they kept importing black people onto U.S. soil, that black people would take over the South. Now, just by me saying that, does that tell you shed a little bit of light into how tenuous and nervous the white people were? If they kept importing black people, they would take over the South. These were not happy Negroes. These were not cowering Negroes. They passed laws to take firearms away from black people when they were freed. They passed laws. They were afraid, even after slavery, that the Negro man would rise up and take over the South. This is what you have not been learning in school. None of you, white or black. After slavery, black people were the most skilled. I've already talked about this when talking about the unions and how the unions passed so many laws, including the minimum wage, to keep black people out of work. That is the definition of racism right there, remember? Now, there's so many people who want to jump on this whole racism bandwagon. I've spoke about this in about 5 back-to-back videos now. If you want to talk about racism, but you want to talk about it from an aspect of ignorance, you don't need to be on my channel, because the very first thing that you have to do is get your definition of what racism is down pat. You can't come into my channel talking about Shaniqua called me a dog and Shaniqua is white, so therefore it's racism. You need to go back to your ratchet YouTube video channel where that sort of thing is a-okay and they don't care what type of English you speak. Here we speak intellectualism. You have to be able to understand what you are saying. And calling any old body a racist on my channel is not gonna fly. Go back to your little ratchet ghetto rapper YouTube channel where you and Bonquisha can talk about all the dogs and what have you, or She Beast or whatever. You can go back to Tommy Sotomayor's channel and talk about who's racist all day long. I'm sure they will eat that right up. But not on my channel. You have to have an IQ of at least 90 to mess on my channel. Okay? Moving right along. The black experience. Is the black experience real? The very question seems to insult the entire black community in the United States. But it has to be put out there that people really do want to contend that there is not a black experience in the United States. I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, there is a black experience in the United States. There is a concerted effort to make sure that you as a black man are in jail. There's a concerted effort to make sure that you as a black child do not know who your father or sometimes even your mother is. You might be raised by an aunt, grandmother. I saw a case where there was a black quote-unquote family and they had been together for 15, 16, 17 years. And the person that they thought was their mother was not their mother. And the person that they thought was their father was not their father. Now, how is it that they were so confused that the woman in the house was their mother? How is it? How is it possible? Because she didn't want them to know. Why? Because the mother was low class. The mother was addicted, drug addicted. So the sister took the children. The aunt took the children. And we're not talking about one child. We're talking about 2 different children, to the point where the boy didn't even belong in the family whatsoever. The boy didn't know who his mother was nor his father. The so-called daughter was the niece. She at least belonged in the same general family, The boy didn't belong to the family at all, was not a member of the family. She just took them in. And the person that they called father was nothing but the latest boyfriend and I guess husband of the aunt. So nobody belonged to him, and the boy didn't even belong to the family line whatsoever. This is the state of the lower classes of the blacks in the United States. These are the descendants of former slaves. These are the descendants of the second, third, fourth born of former slaves, the ones who got absolutely no inheritance whatsoever. This is why I have made it one of my goals to make sure that all black people in the United States know that they can go back 4, 5, or even 6 generations. It's a task that I have been working on secretly to set up a corporation of that sort. Now, there's a lot of problems with that because we have black Americans who will think it's so shameful on themselves, people call them whores or something like that, that they will deny their children the knowledge of who their blood is. Do you understand what I just said? There are women out there who will deny their boy children, girl children, knowledge of who their father is and was, to the point where they lose their entire half of their family because they are afraid somebody is going to call them a whore or a slut or something like that. So I'm having to come up with some sort of policy for a new corporation to help black people out that says we will never judge you. We want only the truth to come out in your family. I'm not asking for donations. I'm just telling you something. One of the many projects that I'm working on. You have absolutely no idea how many projects I'm working on. Anyway, thank you for watching this, and the black experience is in fact real. Thank you for watching the Chicama Live Show.